Today we have our very special guest, Dolores Huerta, who is the founder and president of the Dolores Huerta Foundation and the co-founder of the United Farm Workers. So it's very exciting to have you. And we have our three scoopers, our kid reporters, and we're gonna start with Lilybet.
Thank you so much for this opportunity today. It's really special to us all, and let's get started. What has been the biggest achievement of the Dolores Huerta Foundation? And what is the foundation currently working on?
Well, actually, we have a lot of achievements, but the main thing that we work on is to talk to low-income people and people of color to remind them that they have power and that they can make a difference in their communities, because a lot of times they don't believe that. And so we organize them family by family, meeting in their homes. And so then once they get organized and they work together, then they really achieve a lot of great things. And some of them are in their neighborhoods, like they bring in sidewalks and street lights into their neighborhood, which is a real safety issue. One of our teams, one of our groups, they passed a bond issue and they built a brand new gymnasium for their middle school, because the air pollution here is so bad. A lot of times the students couldn't go out and play at recess or during the lunchtime. They had to stay in class. And so this has made a really big difference for them. Another group, they got a brand new neighborhood park built because they were paying taxes and they had a lot that was vacant, and they wanted to bring a park into their neighborhood so that the children could play there. And so they won that. And we sued our local school district because they were expelling, throwing out of school many of the students of color, primarily Black and Latino students. And we sued them and we won. And so they had to stop those expulsion practices and keep the kids in school and not throw them out of school. So these are just examples. And then we have worked in the state legislature, and we passed a measure. So we helped pass a measure so that the state could have, everybody in the state of California could have clean, safe drinking water. Because many parts of our state, because we are an agricultural state, and a lot of the water was contaminated with pesticides and with nitrates. And so many places people didn't have clean drinking water. So that was another big accomplishment.
That's wonderful. Renata?
Hello, Senora Huerta, and thank you for your time. My first question is, in your opinion, what is the most important accomplishment your foundation has achieved to date?
Well, that was pretty similar. I think the biggest achievement is to make sure that we get people to stand up and fight for themselves. And so we have about 400 leaders throughout the Central Valley of California, of just ordinary people that had never really been involved in any kind of civic or political action before. Oh, and then some of them have been able to get themselves elected to school boards, water boards, recreation boards, and city councils. And that's, you know, them believing in their own power and doing the work to get themselves elected.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Senora Huerta, and thank you for your time today. During this pandemic, what would you tell migrant workers in the field who are scared and worried for their lives while also being concerned about their ability to make a living to support their families?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of people don't realize that the farm workers are essential workers. They are frontline workers, and they have to work every day. Even though a lot of people, we are staying at home now because they've asked us to do that to stop the spread of the virus, but the farm workers have to work out there every single day, and they are not really recognized or appreciated for the work that they're doing. So our main work with the farm workers is we're asking them to stay safe, to be sure that they're provided masks, to make sure that when they work, they actually have social distancing so that they will not be exposed to the virus itself. And then we are also helping them, because even though they're working, sometimes one one of the couple, the father or the mother, has to stay home with the children because the children are not in school either. And so therefore they are deprived of about half of their income that they have. And so, we're helping get funding to help them pay some of their bills that they might have, and setting up food banks, because a lot of the food banks, they open up early, and the workers, they don't get out of work till late afternoon. And so we are opening up food banks so that the farm workers can have a place to get food also, even though they get off of work late. And they will be open for them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
What practices are not being followed to keep farm workers safe during the coronavirus pandemic? And what can we do to push for positive changes?
Well, what we have to do is we have to push the employers, because it's their responsibility to keep the workers safe. And this is one of the things that we're working on also, is getting leaflets out to the labor contractors or to the foremen in the fields, to not only to give the workers a list of places where they might ask for help during this pandemic, so they will have the agencies and the numbers of the people that they have to call. And also we are providing masks for the workers also, so that they can have masks while they're working, or when they have to come together with the social distancing, but we're still encouraging everybody to wear masks.
Can you think of a current politician who has embraced the United Farm Workers movement as much as Bobby Kennedy did?
So you can see I'm wearing my mask right now. Well, actually, yes, there's a lot of politicians, especially in California. Our Governor, Jerry Brown, who just stepped down. We have a new governor now, Governor Gavin Newsom, who's doing a great job. And in our state of California, we actually have some kind of financial help for the undocumented people also. And many of the farm workers, they don't have legal residence, they're not citizens. And so many of the types of financial benefits that have been given to other workers, the undocumented people are not getting those. But our Governor, Gavin Newsom, said that all of the undocumented people will also be able to get some financial assistance. So we're really grateful to our governor. So we do have a lot of good people in the Congress, people like Nancy Pelosi, Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Dianne Feinstein. So there are a lot of great people up there that really do support farm workers. And in our state legislature also, we have a lot of Latinos in our state legislature, and we have a lot of women in our state legislature. So we have a lot of support.
Ethan?
Where were you in your journey when Si Se Puede came to you as a slogan? And how did it make you feel when candidate Obama adopted it for his campaign? How do you feel when other organizations use your words to motivate a movement?
Well, I feel it's a big compliment, but I really like what Si Se Puede stands for, because it really means I can, and it also means we can, all together. So in Spanish, it has a double meaning. In English, just yes, we can, but we can also say yes, I can, because in Spanish, you can use it both ways. And I think that empowers people, because a lot of times, people think, well, I really can't do that. I don't have the education. I don't have the experience. I've never done that before. What if people make fun of me or criticize me? And so we say to people, si se puede. So don't listen to all of these people that try to put you down when you're trying to do something to help somebody. You know that you could do it. And it's also a little scary sometimes, because when you start to do something that you've never done before, especially when it means you've got to talk to people and try to get them to join and to engage and to become active. And it's always a little frightening, especially when people criticize you for doing that and say, oh, she's crazy or he's crazy. They'll never be able to do what they want to do. So we don't listen to them, and we just remember, si se puede, yes, I can. And all together, yes, we can.
That's awesome. Lilybet?
What drew you to jazz, and who do you currently listen to?
In terms of music?
Yes, right.
Well, I like both classical music and I love jazz music. And I listen to public radio a lot. And on public radio, there's two nights where they have jazz, one on Saturday night and one on Sunday night. They have jazz at Lincoln Center. That's from New York City. And you have really great jazz musicians that play. And then on Sunday nights, at least here in California, where I live in the Central Valley, they have a jazz from 9 p.m. to 12 p.m. midnight. And we also have in our community, although it's not open right now, we have a jazz workshop where a lot of students that are studying jazz, they come and they play. And then you have professional musicians that also come and they teach them. And it's really wonderful. It's a nonprofit organization and anybody can go listen to the jazz because it's free.
Nice.
Do you think people are born activists, or is it a calling one picks up along the way as they go through life? And as a child, were you around other activists?
Anyone can be an activist. The one thing that we have to do is take away that fear that people have, that fear that I spoke about earlier, or that of embarrassment, or because they're doing something new that you've never done before. But being an activist is basically just talking to people, talking to them about issues, talking to them about why they should vote, why they should register to vote. And you can see above me, I guess on the side, I've got a census sign up there. Right now, we're working on the census, telling people, please sign up for the census. It only takes about 9 or 10 minutes to do this, but a lot of people are afraid. They're afraid to sign up for the census because our administration, unfortunately, they were attacking people, especially Latinos, and threatening people. So a lot of people are afraid to sign up for the census. So this is what we're doing now, asking people, don't be afraid. So to become an activist, you basically have to get rid of the fear that you might have, because it's really important that we talk to people about issues like gun violence, about climate change, about discrimination against people of color, about misogyny and sexual harassment against women, and all of these things that we can change in our society, about racism, about homophobia. So yeah, this is basically what organizing is just talking to people and talking to people and talking to people and asking them to come and join and help us really address some of these issues that are so prevalent right now in our society and that are causing so many people harm.
Yes. Ethan?
How did you not let discrimination hamper you from continuing your work? And did you feel more discriminated against as a woman or as a Mexican American?
I guess the answer to that is both. Yeah, I think like when you're, as a woman, when you're trying to get people to become involved, you always have to worry about the machismo and people putting you down because you're a woman. And then of course, where you're a person of color, there's always that kind of discrimination because people don't think that you can really accomplish as much as you want to because you're a person of color. So it's kind of hard, I think, for women and for women of color, especially because you kind of get a double whammy in there. You get discriminated twice as often and as much as other people do. But again, you have to not let that stand in your way, because we know that when people discriminate against somebody, it's their ignorance. Dr. Martin Luther King said that racism is an illness. Racism is an illness. So when we try to talk to people about getting them to end their racism or to stop it, because a lot of times people don't know where it came from. It came from hearing their parents talk bad about people of color, and they just kind of pick it up and they don't really know where it stems from, but we know it comes from slavery. So when we talk to people to get rid of some of those isms that I mentioned, then I think we are organizing. That's what we're supposed to do, is erase the ignorance that people have in their hearts and in their minds. And that's what really we should do on this earth to make the world a better place. And one of the ways we do that is by, talking to people about where their ignorance came from and trying to get rid of it.
Yes. Lilybet?
What are some ways you would suggest young people and children get involved in their communities?
There are so many ways. that young people can get involved. And I think the voices of young people are really important right now, more than ever. Number one, because you have access to Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, emails. You can get your voices really, really loud out there. You can broadcast your ideas, and you can use your emails to contact your local school board. And you can use your email to contact your local state representative. Right now in the Congress, they have just introduced a package of legislation to help people that are suffering from this pandemic that we're living in right now. And if you could just get everybody that you know to send an email to your congressperson and to your senator and say, please support and vote for the help that people need during this pandemic. Poor people, people that are unemployed, small businesses, all of the people that need the health care. And that is a very powerful message coming from a young person. And you can organize and get other people to do this. Other students, other young people. You don't have to be an adult to send an email. And you can say to them, my name is so-and-so. I am 10 years old. I am 12 years old. And we need your help for my community, for my family, and for all the people that need your help out there. And we expect you to vote yes on Speaker Nancy Pelosi's package to help everyone.
Renata?
What social issue in our country do you think needs our attention at this moment?
I guess healthcare is number one because we don't have healthcare for everybody. And now we have seen that this pandemic has really exposed the fact there are so many people that have gotten sick from this pandemic. And there are many states where people don't have healthcare like we have here in California. And a lot of undocumented people that don't have healthcare because they're undocumented. So I think the healthcare issue is a big one. I think for young people too, to think about the immigrants that have come here to seek refuge in the United States, and that they are in cages at our Mexican border. And these are people that come here looking for help, and instead of getting help, we're putting them in prisons, and that is so wrong. And then again, climate change. This is something that I know a lot of young people are really concerned about, because you are going to inherit this planet, and we've got to make it safe for you. And so young people really have to speak up to adults and say, hey, what are you doing? You're polluting our planet. This is our planet, you know, this is our future. And get people to stop polluting and change from the fossil fuels like oil and coal to alternative energy, you know, like solar energy, windmills, things like that of that nature. Yeah, young people have to start fighting for their future, okay? You can't depend on all of us adults to save it for you. You've got to get out there and fight for it for yourself.
Lilybet?
Is there one thing, if there was one thing you could ask everyone in the world to do, what would it be?
To become active. If everybody became active, if everybody voted, you know, then we could be sure that we have good people that are elected, and that we pass good laws to protect everybody. Because poor people and all of us, we have a lot of power, but we don't use our power. And what is our power? Our power is our voice. Our power is our activism. Our power is to go out there and get other people involved. And you as students, you can talk to your fellow students and get them involved. And sometimes their parents may not agree with some of the positions that we are talking about right here, but the young people can know that they can make a difference even if their parents are not in agreement with them. And then they can also educate their parents, not only their friends, but also their parents and people in their community.
Ethan?
Do you think that the U.S. Census has an impact on the farm workers, and do you think they tend to be underrepresented in the official count?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you can see right above me that I have a Census 2020 sign. In our foundation right now, this is what we're working on. We're working on the census. And before, we were going door to door and talking to people at their doorstep, but now we can't do that. And so now we are doing it on telephones. We're calling into people, just like we're having this meeting today. We're calling into people on phones, and begging them, asking them, please don't be afraid, sign up for the census. And so many of our community, our Latino community, they were attacked so harshly by our president that many of them are afraid to sign up for the census. But we sued the Trump administration and we won because they wanted to put a question on the census if people were citizens or not. But we won, and there is not a citizenship question on the census form. And so this is why we're calling everybody that we know. All of our staff is working from home, but what we're asking people is to please sign up for the census.
Congratulations, Renata.
Who inspired you when you were younger, and who inspires you now?
Well, when I was younger, I think my mother was my big inspiration because she always taught us that if we could help somebody and they needed our help, that we should do it, even if they didn't ask us, that we should help people when we can see that someone needs help. The other thing is not to take any kind of gratification for it, not to do it for money, not to do it for rewards, or even for a thank you. That this is a responsibility that we have as human beings to help people that need help. And so my mother was a great inspiration. Then I was a Girl Scout for 10 years of my life. And when you're a Girl Scout, this is one of the pledges that you make, to be of service to others. And then I've been inspired by people like Robert Kennedy, Cesar Chavez, whom I worked with for many years. And then there was a gentleman that actually changed my life from being a teacher to be an organizer. And he's somebody that a lot of people never heard of. His name was Fred Ross Sr. And he organized a lot of people. And he's the one that taught myself and Cesar Chavez how to organize. So I am very grateful to him because he changed my life.
Okay, Renata, do you have the first question? Or who has the first question?
Oh, I think I do. Yes, okay. Is there a food from your childhood that you still love today?
Is there what?
A food from your childhood that you still love today?
I'm going to mention a food that probably none of you have ever heard of, okay? And this is a blue corn. You know, corn comes in different colors. And there's a blue corn, and you can make that into sort of it's something like cream of wheat, except that instead of being white, it's blue. And I love that. And of course, I love tamales. And I think everybody knows what that is. And I just like basic food. And anything that's corn, I like.
Do you make tamales at Christmas time?
Well, I don't make them that much anymore, but all of my kids do because it takes a lot of work.
Lilybet, I think you're next.
I should add this, so that I'm a vegetarian, and so when I make my tamales, they're with corn or some other vegetable, and yeah, I don't eat meat.
How long have you been vegetarian?
About 30 years.
Okay, great. Lilybet.
After the grape boycott, did you ever go back to eating grapes?
Yes, I did, but I'll tell you this though. If you want to eat grapes, make sure that they're organic. Because the other grapes, if they're not organic, they're going to have a lot of poisons on them, a lot of pesticides.
Okay. Ethan?
Is there any special memory you have from when you received the Medal of Freedom from President Obama?
Oh, yes, that was a beautiful, beautiful day. And it was really interesting when I received the Medal of Freedom, and I got that medal for being an organizer, a community organizer, because President Obama had been a community organizer. And a lot of times people made fun of him. Like one of the people that was running for Vice President of the United States, Sarah Palin, she made fun of President Obama. She said, oh, he's just a community organizer. And so when I got my medal for being a community organizer, I thought, yay, I'm like the president, I'm a community organizer. And then when I got my medal, it was really interesting, the people that got the medal at the same time. I mentioned that I had been a Girl Scout. Well, the founder of the Girl Scouts, Juliet Gordon Lowe, she wasn't there, of course, because she passed away, but her great-granddaughter accepted the medal for her. And then also Toni Morrison, who is a great writer, African-American woman. She got her Medal of Freedom the same day I did. And then, let me see, one more. Oh, Bob Dylan, who is a very famous songwriter here in the United States. He also got the medal that day. And then one of the astronauts, one of the first astronauts also got the medal. So I was in really, really special company.
Wow, that's awesome. Ethan, you have another question, right?
Is there something we should be boycotting now?
Well, there is a boycott going on right now of some strawberries. It's called Driscoll strawberries. And in Mexico right now, there are a lot of farm workers that are Mexican farm workers in Mexico, and they are not being paid very much money, and they pick strawberries. And the strawberries are actually, it's an American company that owns the strawberries down there. And the company's Driscoll, Driscoll. And so those workers are asking for people to boycott those strawberries because they pay them very, very low wages where they work at in Mexico. But here they sell the strawberries for a lot of money.
Okay. And Lilybet?
What can kids do to spread the message of the Dolores Huerta Foundation?
Well, actually, we have a curriculum that we can make available to schools depending on their grade level. And so they can learn more about the organizing that we did. And just, I think, to spread that message of activism is just say to all the young people out there, please get involved. Please spread the word about the climate change and about gun violence, and get your parents to vote and get your parents to sign up for the census, okay? If they haven't already done it, sign up for the census.
Well, that's all of our questions. Thank you so much, Doña Dolores, for all of your time today and squeezing us into your busy schedule.
Well, I thank you very much for interviewing me, and I wish you all the best. And hopefully someday we can see each other in person. But in the meantime, I just want to thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Sí se puede. With our young people, with the young people, sí se puede. Because you're not only the future, you're also the present, okay?
Can we say it all together, you guys, with Dolores?
Okay, let's go.
All together. Sí se puede. Come on.
Let's clap our hands like this. We do a unison. We clap in unison. Let's go. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Thank you.
You're welcome.